Melanie?
Yes, sir.
Hi, hi. How's your morning so far?
Good. I just woke up and got ready for work. I was like, yeah, I'll go to work.
All right. I gotta ask Melanie, you ever been in one of these where they're just driving themselves like this?
No.
Right.
Well, I haven't Teslas, but I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, this thing's gonna do point-to-point driving. I'm not gonna touch any of the steering wheel or the controls down there with the pedals. Hopefully get us there safely. I'm supervising, but this does all my driving for me now. It's crazy.
That's cool. me he was fucking drinking since 10 a.m., bro. But he didn't even tell me because I be tripping, you know? But I guess he was drinking, and my twin, like, we didn't pick him up till like 5-some p.m. But I was at work, so remember that one day, that day I was texting you and shit? Yeah, it was that day. Well, yeah, I don't know, to pick me up, like, we went straight back to my house so we could, like, pick him up. Because I kept telling her, like, bro, I don't want to bring him because he's going to be drinking and he's going to start tripping, and then I'm going to start tripping. But she kept saying that she wanted her homeboy to come over, and I'm like, bro. She was like, she was like, just I could tell you're my parents, but it's his cousin. I was like, okay. And I was like, girl, I ain't chopping him. But I kept telling her, you know, because I already knew, you know. Well, we brought him. Well, no, we went to the house for him, and I got there, and Danny was knocked out. So when he was knocked out, I screamed at him, like, the first time to wake up, and then I said his name the second. I said his name the second time, and he woke up. He's like, what you screaming out for? I was like, cuz, wake your ass up. He's like, I didn't tell you I was sleeping. He's like, I was taking a nap. I was like, I don't care. And I smelled beer, bro. So, like, I was like, let me smell your mouth. He opened up his mouth. He's like, you've been drinking. And he was like, I was like, you've been drinking. He was like, no. I was like, okay. Maybe I thought I was tripping, so I was like, okay. So he was already dressed up over there and everything. And all I know is, like, we had stopped by this corner store over here, and he grabbed these two, I forgot what they're called, but it was some type of two drinks, and I don't know, the way he was drinking the most, and I guess he got fucked up off of two. I was just thinking in my head, like, hey, that shit ain't adding up, you know? So as soon as we already got to my mom's, like 30 minutes later, like, my twin on some dry shit, like, took him to the store, bought him more beer, and I was pissed because I was screaming at twin. I was like, why the fuck would you buy him beer? I was like, he finna tweak out, right? And my twin was like, man, he needs to just come over and relax. I was like, girl, he ain't gonna relax, he's gonna give me problems. I was like, thanks a lot. So after I, like, I ain't gonna lie, I kept talking shit to her, saying definitely come over. I was talking shit to him because I was like, we kept trying to, like, hype him up, like, bro, he's drinking, like, why the fuck would you do that? I don't know, I guess, they had their polls or whatever, and I don't know, like, he kept cocking his gun, and Josiah, he kept cocking his gun, knowing that when my sister in the driver's seat driving, like, bitch, are you stupid? Like, bro. So after that, I started screaming at him. I was like, bro, stop cocking your shit. I was like, I'm finna take your shit. He's like, you take your shit. I was like, you wanna take? Well, I snatched that shit like nothing. I snatched it, put it under my fucking thigh, and then I was like, and I did. And then he was like, you're doing too much, give me back my shit. And I was like, no, bitch, you keep cocking that shit, but you ain't right in front. And I was like, all it takes to have your finger on the trigger. And then he kept trying to take it, and I kept pushing him. I was like, get the fuck off me. I was like, we ain't getting your shit back. And he was like, I ain't no bitch, you ain't getting my shit. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, you don't cock your shit and get the fuck out the car. So as soon as that, like, we had arrived to my mom, bro, I uncocked the barrel like 4 times because he kept trying to, like, take that cock it back. So as soon as, like, we got to my mom's, whatever, I was told twin, I was like, this is why I didn't bring it, I'm gonna be in a bad mood. And then she was like, let's just barbecue. Mind you, my parents were already barbecued, they were just waiting on us. And, like, I guess he set him aside, and he kept drinking, and I kept arguing with him. I was like, bro, I'm gonna give you an Uber, because he started, like, stumbling down. Like, bro, that doesn't make sense how you this drunk already. Like, the fuck? So I kept arguing with him. He was talking about, he started texting my phone when I was inside, because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't eat. I was arguing with my mom, because my mom was like, every time you come, there's always problems. I was like, to tell my mom, I was like, it only be problems when he starts drinking. I was like, everybody be friendly with him, trying to buy him shit so he could get fucked up. I was like, why do that shit? I was like, I'm not the one dealing with him. I was like, okay, but every time you come, you're always mad. You're always, like, being rude to him. I was like, I don't care. I told my mom, and my mom was like, okay. She said, you don't care? She said, alright. So after that, my tent's like, why are you taking my mom like that? I was like, girl, shut the fuck up. You're the reason why he was drinking. No. My twin was like, why are you talking to my mom like that? I was like, girl, I was like, you're the reason why. I was like, you're the reason why you bought me this fucking beer. Like, I was like, twin my twin. And twin like, shut the fuck up. And I looked at Zay. And I was like, why the fuck do you keep trying to like hype him up? I was like, bro, y'all finna give me problems, bro. I know what I'm telling y'all. And after that, boom, this dude started blowing my phone, talking about, he sent me a screenshot about the walk. Boy, it's like 17 hours and something minutes. And I came outside, I was like, why the fuck you sending me that? He's like, I'm finna walk. He's like, I'm finna leave. He's like, you ain't fucking with me. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, bye. And he's like, so you won't let me walk? I was like, bro, I told you I'll get you Uber so you can go home. He's like, so you won't come home? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's some bitch ass shit. And then, I don't know. His mom called me, right? Trying to talk to me stupid, right? His mom talking about, oh, why is my son texting his brother-in-law saying if his car's fixed already to come pick him up? She's like, what's going on? I was like, your stupid ass son is tweaking the fuck out because he's drunk. And she said, why y'all letting him drink? I was like, I ain't buying him that shit. I was like, y'all gonna figure it out when you get there. And she's like, so what you gonna do? She's like, you coming home? I said, no, I'm not coming home. I was like, y'all finna deal with that. And then she said, okay, but why are you so mad? I was like, because, bro. I was like, I don't know when was he drinking. I was like, but I know he ain't get drunk off of just a 12-pack already. And she's like, oh, he's been drinking with his friends since 10 in the morning. They're right in front of the house drinking. And she's like, I did tell him to stop drinking. He didn't listen. I was like, oh, okay. And next thing you know, I guess I forgot she was on the phone, bro. I started arguing with him. I was like, why the fuck have you been drinking at 10 in the morning? I was like, why lie? And then he was like, all drunk, like, he was like, I was scared to tell you that I was drinking already. And I was like, well, why lie? He's like, you would have been tripping on me. I was like, yeah. That's how I let you drink. And after that, he was like, just like telling me like, how, I don't know. All I know, he kept saying that he was a grown ass man, he could drink, and I don't tell him what to do. I was like, okay, but you're in my mom's house, so you can get the fuck out. And then he was like, I'm not getting out. He's like, who's gonna move me? I was like, me. I was like, get your ass up. Boy, I started pushing his ass to the front gates so he could leave. And then he was saying that everybody gonna feel him watch and a bunch of shit. And then I forgot his mom was on the phone, so she hearing all this shit. And then next you know, I seen her, she was on the phone, and I just put it in his ear, and she was talking shit to him. And he kept arguing her back. And then after I started arguing with him, I was like, why the fuck you talking to your mom like that? I was like, you started all this shit. And then he was like, you're the one tripping. I was like, cause you giving me a hard time. I was like, that's why I'm tripping. And I was like, and you lied. And he kept telling me like, bro, that I'm doing too much. I was like, I don't care. I was like, go home. I was like, I don't even want you here. You could drive me in the front.
Right about here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
No worries. Hi.
Right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You have a wonderful day.